Let's make some Laduree macaroon inspired miniatures. And welcome to my channel, Notorious Crafts. Laduree is my favorite French bakery and I absolutely love their macaroons, so I wanted to recreate it in miniature form. First up, I'm going to make the macaroons using some polymer clay from the brand Sculpey. I'm going to use this macaroon mold so that each macaroon turns out perfect. I have a link for it down below in the description, and if you use my code YouTube20, you can get 20% off this silicone mold as well as all the others on the website. I make each of the macaroons one by placing some clay inside the silicone mold. And I really press it down in there to make sure I don't have any air pockets, and then I scrape away the excess clay. Once I was done making the yellow ones, I went on to make some pastel blue ones. I chose all pastel and light colors. And then I popped them in the oven to bake so that they can harden. Once they were done baking, I lined them all up so that I could start preparing the filling that's going to go inside them. I added a drop of white liquid polymer clay to the center of each of the macaroons, and I also used a very thin needle nose tip for accurate application. I used these pink crafting tweezers to gently place the top macaroon on top of the filling. You don't want to squeeze the two layers together so that the liquid polymer clay doesn't ooze out. Once I was done, I placed them back on the baking sheet and popped them in the oven to bake so that the liquid polymer clay can harden. And here is how all of the macaroons turned out. I made this macaroon tower in a previous video, which I'll link down below, but I decided to make a second one so that I can have two matching ones. If you want to see how I made these macaroon towers, go check out the video down below in the description. Next, I'll show you how I made all of these colorful boxes. I created some miniature box template printables, which are available to you on my website at notoriouscrafts.com, and that link is also down below in the description, and it is free for all of you to download and use so that you can make your own miniature boxes. You can print them out onto any kind of paper you would like. I didn't want to print these out directly onto the paper that I was going to use because I only needed a couple boxes from each color, so I didn't want to put my colored paper through the printer. So I ended up just cutting it out on regular white computer paper, and then I'm going to trace it onto the colored paper. So I'm pretty much just using these as a template. To keep the paper template in place, I just taped one corner down with a really small piece of tape and then traced around it using a pencil. I also marked off where the folds are going to be with a pencil on the inside of the box so that when I fold it, you won't be able to see the pencil marks. I used a ruler to help create perfect straight folds, but you can use any other hard flat surface that you would like. Once all the folds were in, I checked to make sure it created a perfect box shape before I started gluing everything down. I added small amounts of glue using a toothpick to the folds and then pressed it up against the rest of the box and held it in place until the glue was semi-dried, and then I continued doing that for each of the other folds. I chose to glue down the lid, but you can leave it open if you want to place some macaroons inside. I want these to be stacked boxes on top, so I glued it shut. I'm going to make the same box but in a smaller size that's available on my template, and this is going to go on top of the pink box. Next, I'll show you how to make these blue and pink cylinder boxes. I cut out even strips of paper using a paper cutter and then used my quilling tool to roll them up. Having lots of paper rolled up creates a much more sturdy cylinder. To create perfectly circle lids, I use this circle hole punch. I added some glue to the rolled paper and made sure it got to all of the layers and then placed it on top of the hole punched circle. And then I added some glue to the other side as well. I printed out some Laduree logos to attach to all of my boxes, and I also printed them out in various sizes since I have boxes of many sizes. Laduree boxes always have a lot of very pretty detailed trim as a decoration on them, and I didn't have any ribbon or lace small enough, so I decided to trim off some of this gold ribbon, and I'm making it much smaller so that I can attach it to my box. I added small amounts of glue directly to the ribbon and then pressed it down against the box, and this helped hold it in place. The glue will also help prevent the ribbon from fraying and getting lots of little tiny frills all over the box. If you get any excess glue on the outside of the ribbon, just take it off using a toothpick before it dries. I cut out one of the Laduree logos and then glued it down to my blue cylinder box. And then I'm going to make one more of these in the color blue. I also made one of these cylinder containers in the color pink and followed the same exact process as I did for the blue one. I added some of the gold trim ribbon to the pink rectangle box as well as the blue rectangle box. I wanted them to also be decorated. They looked a little bit too plain. I made this rectangle macaroon box using the rectangle template. I also added a little bit of gold ribbon around the box to decorate it, and now I'm going to glue in the macaroons inside of the box. I did not glue down the lid of this box so that the macaroons can be seen from the outside. And the last boxes that I'm going to make are these square boxes. I chose to do the color purple for my last two boxes. I am mainly using pastel colors for all of my boxes since Laduree always uses really pretty pastel colors. I'm curious if any of you have been to Laduree, and if so, which location have you been to? The first one that I went to was the one in Paris, and then I also went to the one in Los Angeles. Next, I'm going to make the classic Laduree green shopping bag. I printed out the Laduree logo on a green background and then glued two of the pieces together to create a miniature shopping bag. I created a handle to the shopping bag using some small pieces of white ribbon. I added the glue on the inside of the bag and then held it in place while the glue dried. I have this white miniature cabinet that I'm going to use as my store display. I will repaint it that really pretty mint pastel green. And to get that color, I used this mint green and mixed it with white from the brand Craftsmart. And here's how the cabinet looks painted. I absolutely love this color. I'm a big fan of pastels. And now my favorite part, where I get to assemble everything I made all together. And here's the final result of my miniature Laduree store display. I'm really happy with how everything turned out. I love all the colors together. The pastels look really nice. I also added some of the extra macaroons I had as extra decorations. I also ended up making one more blue rectangle box to add inside of my shopping bag. Let me know what you guys think of this creation down below in the comments. I always read every comment from you guys. Thank you so much. I always appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.